Hey guys, greetings and salutations. This is James here at Unique Perspectives. Would love for you guys to support me by a like and subscribe. Would appreciate that. And I just want to shout out to all the people that have been really just following my stuff and, you know, really just been very encouraging up to this point. I really appreciate it. It's been about 8 months since I've joined YouTube, so it's still in my first year. I'm really learning a lot. I'm really interacting with a lot of people. I don't mind any comments at all, even if you agree to disagree. I'm okay with that as well. But yeah, please like and subscribe. I'm here at Irvine Great Park here in the city of Irvine in Orange County, California. So let's get into the topic at hand. I actually wanted to talk about the whole concept of being transparent with your foot fetish or your admiration for feet. And, you know, of course, there's, you know, I've discussed this in a lot of different videos related to this topic, that there is a spectrum when it comes to the whole admiration for feet. You know, you have some guys that have a more milder version of it. You know, you have some people that are sort of in the middle. You have people that are more on the extreme side. And, you know, personally, and I'm going to say this again, I don't judge anybody when it comes to where they are on the spectrum. I have my perspective on the spectrum. Everyone probably watching this, you know, if you have a thing for feet, either whether you're male or female, you are somewhere on that spectrum. And so it's not my place to judge what's right or what's wrong. The only thing I would recommend or I would judge is if you're trying to touch somebody's feet that doesn't want their feet touched. There's a lot of reports, of course, of, you know, men sneaking in women's apartment or their homes just to touch their feet. There's women that have been at parks like this, taking a nap, and there's some guy touching their feet or sniffing their feet. And I understand there's a whole spectrum. We all have different preferences and things like that, but it's definitely not okay if you're trying to harass or, you know, abuse somebody, you know, and they do not want to be touched. So I cannot condone that at all to any extent. Now, one thing I do want to say is I want to just go right into the topic at hand, and that is being transparent with your admiration for feet. You know, I personally, I don't use the foot fetish concept, but term, but I use it just so there's other people that can sort of relate to what I'm talking about. But I like to say admiration for feet. And keep in mind that everyone, including myself, we have different preferences. So I don't want to touch just anybody's feet. It has to be somebody that I'm actually interested in, and they have to have, you know, a certain, you know, there's a certain standard I have for what I. But what I want to talk about is just being open about your admiration for feet. And that's something that I sort of do in my own personal life. You know, I am a Christian. I am somebody that takes my relationship with God seriously. Everyone in my life knows that that's something that's very important to me, is my relationship with God. So that comes first, you know, and I have other things I'm interested in: sports cars, motorcycles, video games, great books. You know, I just bought a book on Amazon from the, you know, Thomas Sowell, you know, the black, you know, conservative, you know, amazing man. So first book, I'm really looking forward to just getting into, you know, the topic and things like that. But one of the things I learned is just being open about the things that you care about, the things that you find interesting or you fashion for. It's really important just to embrace those things openly. And I find that when you openly embrace these things, it's really difficult for people to try to use things as, you know, ammunition to attack your integrity, attack your character, attack whatever. And what I'm specifically talking about is there are a lot of people that for some reason they are aroused or they are fixated on the idea of pointing out when a man particularly likes, you know, ladies' feet. There's something about the intrigue with people to want to ask questions. And, you know, and don't get me wrong, there are some people that ask questions and they're real genuine. They're not trying to attack you. They're really interested in knowing, you know, the parameters or what's your interest and things like that. And I think that's okay. But then you have a lot of people that are on the other side where they really are not genuinely interested. They just want to make fun of you, poke fun at you and things like that. And what I've learned personally is to embrace and be open about my, you know, adoration for feet or whatever it is that I really enjoy. And I think it's important just to keep in mind that when you are open and transparent about things, it's really difficult or nearly impossible for anyone to use something against you. One of the examples I wanted to use, and I hope you guys can relate to it or at least get an idea of what I'm talking about, is an example I actually seen from the movie 8 Mile, and this is from the movie Eminem was starring in, and it was kind of like, I guess, a version of some of the things that he went through in his personal life. So it was a very interesting film. Even as a Christian, I know it's considered secular. I think it's an amazing film. I think it had a great message behind it. I don't think it's a Christian film, but I think it had a great message with just being consistent, persevering, and moving forward, you know, even when you're going through a lot of challenges. But one of the things that I thought was really interesting, and this is a spoiler alert, even though the movie's been out for I don't know how many years, but it's, you know, but yeah, I have to tell a bit of the story so I can explain my point. At the end of the movie, he had this tournament where he was going against other rappers, maybe 3, and he went through the first 2, but then he had to face the last one, the one that was considered the best, Papa Doc. And this is, you know, played by Anthony Mackie, so that's our Falcon, our Captain America, you know. And what I thought was interesting about this whole dynamic is instead of Eminem's character allowing this person to used all this ammunition and all these things that they knew about his character, that he lived in a trailer park, that he was broke, that this group somehow, had access to his girlfriend, and somebody slept with his girlfriend, or the girl that he liked, from this group, and they beat him up and all these things. Instead of waiting for the guy to use that information against him in the rap, he volunteered to address those things openly and publicly in front of everyone. And so by the end of the movie, when it was the other guy's turn, Eminem's character already did his turn, and the other guy's turn, he didn't have anything to say, and Eminem, his character won. And it was just so fascinating to me, because when I seen that, it really ministered to me, like, wow, this guy didn't have anything to say because Eminem's character said everything already. He said everything that the guy was thinking about saying. And so I see it in the same way, that we can actually use the openness as a tool to really not allow people to attack us. It's really difficult to attack a person that's open and transparent about their preferences, their interests, whether it's feet or whether it's something else, And just about everybody in my life, my family, close family, all my friends, ladies that I've, tried to date or wanted to date or whatever, everybody knows that I admire ladies with nice feet, and of course, they all know I have a preference when it comes to that. But it's not an obsession. It's something that I talk about from time to time. I have other things that I'm more interested in. My PS5, I enjoy that much more than I would enjoy a lady's feet, Or I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe when I get married, I'll know the answer to that. But I just really want to arm you guys and just remind you, do not allow anyone to use your interest in feet as something to attack. Be open about it. Learn to be open about it. And I'm not saying you have to go in graphic detail with what you want to do with your wife's feet or something like that. But what I'm saying is just be open about it. If somebody says, hey, I heard you like feet, you say, yeah, I like some ladies' feet. Let them know that there's a parameter, there's a guideline that you have, there's a specific standard that you have. And then, you can ask them, is there anything else? Is there anything else that you want to know? What else do you want to know? And some people will say, oh, do you suck toes? Do you do this? Do you do that? And what I typically do is I remind people that when it comes to sexuality and intimacy, there are other things and other body parts that people typically put in their mouths that are just probably much more, I'm going to say, nastier or whatever, when it comes to sexual intimacy. So I try to help people understand from a psychological standpoint that the foot thing is not as weird as people would think it is. Not when you really include the large scale of things when it comes to sexual intimacy and things like that. I do want to remind you guys before I end this video, it is important for all men, especially men and women as well, find a partner that can accommodate your interests. If you want a lady that has nice feet, then go out and find that woman, whether it's social media, whether it's online dating, you're going out, even if it's, your church, but find somebody that has the same interest as you, and make sure that you let them know ahead of time that this is something that you also take interest in. Yes, you may like literature. Yes, you may like certain movies and TV shows, and yes, you may like to exercise and do all these other things, but make sure that they know that, yes, you actually do admire ladies with nice feet. That's something that you're interested in. That's something that you would like. That's something that's, something that you would like to include in your relationship, And everyone has different preferences, so it's not a big deal. It doesn't have to be a big deal. I know that a lot of people like to put us down in the foot community, make it seem weird, but it's not. And I really want to encourage you guys to take on this challenge with being confident when you're speaking about these things, and really just show people and demonstrate to people it's not really that big of a deal. There's other things in the world that's much more weirder or stranger than a guy that admires feet. There's a lot of, God obviously is a master of creating beautiful things, and he has created the beautiful body of women, when it comes to their breast, their backside, their soft voice, their natural fragrances, things that really arouse us and, intrigues us as men, So a lady with nice feet, that's just something, that's a part of the deal. That's a part of, a lot of us, we love a lady that wears nice, nice shoes, maybe jewelry, an anklet or something like that. We all admire certain elements of the beauty of a woman. So it's really important just to keep that in mind that, it's not that big of a deal. Just learn to be open and honest with yourself. And then from there, you can move forward and actually communicate more effectively with people. Again, I'm not saying you need to go in graphic detail with what you want to do with the feet of your wife and all that, because I don't know, maybe you want her to step on you or something like that. I know there's some guys that like to be stepped on. Hey, if that's your thing, more power to you, but just find somebody, your partner, that can accommodate you, and you guys can accommodate each other. Hope this was helpful. God bless you guys. If you have any questions, reach out to me. I would love any comments as well. God bless you guys. Please like and subscribe, and take care. Bye.